Yes, people, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel. Hope you guys are all doing well. So Erik ten Hag is staying on as Manchester United manager. Yes, the report, the news has dropped, and I am absolutely buzzing. Over the last couple of weeks since the cup final, in fact, before the cup final, we had heard reports and rumours linking Manchester United with all sorts of different managers. We even heard the news Manchester United had already decided to sack the manager. There were talks with Thomas Frank, Thomas Tuchel, Roberto De Zerbi. You're looking at Mauricio Pochettino. There was even discussions that Manchester United were going to bring in Gareth Southgate. Gareth Southgate. Can you imagine Manchester United would have appointed Gareth Southgate? Gareth Southgate. We don't have to imagine that anymore, because he will not be becoming Manchester United manager, and Erik ten Hag will be staying on. And that report dropped from David Ornstein. Now, it did drop last night. Apologies that I'm reacting to this one a little bit late. I was out at one of those classic Poker Stars players parties, and it got a little bit Lionel. Yeah, it got a little bit Lionel Messi. As you can see, the video didn't even come out this morning because I was recovering. But here we are. And David Ornstein says Erik ten Hag will stay on as Manchester United manager after the club's end-of-season review culminated in a decision to keep the Dutchman, and he has agreed to remain at Old Trafford following a period of major uncertainty over ten Hag's future. United held talks with the 54-year-old on Tuesday, and the preference for both parties was for his tenure to continue. Ten Hag's existing United contract runs until next June with an option to prolong by 12 months, and now they will now enter negotiations about extending those terms. So not only is he staying, but he could be getting a contract extension as well to keep him at the club and to obviously give him a little bit of confidence, give him the backing as well. Because whilst there's been all these rumours and everything's been up in the air, you know, I'm sure he's been unsure about what's going on. Do these guys even want me or not? Like, the players are probably thinking the same. And I think in order to, like, you know, give him that support, give him that, you know, give the players a message as well. Give him a new contract, makes sense. We're looking at a manager that won back-to-back trophies for Manchester United. We haven't done that in an awfully long time. Now, I know there's context to that. We had one of our worst league campaigns. We had our worst Premier League campaign, and our worst league campaign since 89, 90, was it? I was just born around those times. Yes, giving my age away now. So Manchester United obviously need to improve massively on the pitch. There were also, you know, reasons for that, in my opinion. Yes, I think the manager got a lot of things wrong. He got a lot of things wrong, but also last season he got a lot of things right. Yes, he got a lot of things wrong, but also I think the injuries hampered Manchester United an awful lot. And you're looking at a squad that Manchester United fans, you know, can all agree on needs a lot of changes in it. So you have to kind of give the manager that. Do you know what I mean? That this squad isn't ideal. And any manager coming in would have had to deal with that and would have had to make a lot of changes as well. Now, with Manchester United's FFP situation and us having to sell, to buy and all those kind of things, there's talk we've only got 30 million with, you know, until we get some sales out there. With that being said, it looks like it could be a tricky summer. Now, you kind of hope that maybe they're just putting that out there, they're briefing that so that, you know, you can keep prices down for players and things like that. And also, Ineos are going to have to go through, you know, negotiating some of these things. And trying to get Manchester United into a different position in terms of where we're negotiating for players, because for far too long Manchester United have played top dollar for the wrong players usually, and we need that to change ASAP. But yeah, he won the FA Cup last month, the article carries on, defeating City, and The Athletic reported that the club were due to conduct a review of the 23-24 campaign, including the performance of Ten Hag. You know what I like about David Ornstein, yeah? The other day, he was asked about this, and he said, I don't know what's going on. And then he found out what's going on, and he broke the news. You've had so many dickheads, left, right, and centre, just putting all sorts of bollocks out there. And we don't really know whether we can believe it or not. Obviously, you've got that uncertainty that does exist. The uncertainty does exist, and the manager has even spoken about that. But there was so much bullshit out there. You didn't know what to believe and what was going on. In case a change in the dugout was to be made, United had sounded out potential replacements including Thomas Tuchel, Roberto De Zerbi, Mauricio Pochettino, Thomas Frank and Kieran McKenna. By the end of the process, led by United co-owner Sir Jim Ratcliffe and Ineos sporting director Sir Dave Brailsford, the choice was made to move forward with Ten Hag. The build-up to the FA Cup final was largely overshadowed by speculation about his position, with the manager admitting afterwards that he didn't know if it was his last match in charge off the back of what he called a rubbish campaign. Bang on. United recorded their lowest finishing position of the Premier League era. I've kind of just gone through that myself, haven't I? Speaking to you guys then, I don't have to read through those bits in the article. But we also saw another article by Laurie Whitwell and Adam Crafton. The Athletic have been absolutely smashing it around this in the last 24 hours. And they've gone on to say, a board meeting in Monaco, face-to-face in Ibiza, bookended an astonishing 4 weeks in which Ten Hag came back from the brink as Manchester United manager. So they seem to, reiterate that there were meetings with other managers. Having read media reports about Ineos figures speaking to various managerial candidates in the fortnight after his FA Cup win, Ten Hag finally heard for himself about his future on Tuesday. The season review, carried out by Sir Dave Brailsford, Jason Wilcox, Jean-Claude Blanc on behalf of Sir Jim Ratcliffe, and which featured several conversations with potential successors before advancing to the stage of possible financials with Thomas Tuchel and Roberto De Zerbi, had ultimately led back to the man in situ. The decision makers had cut communications after passing on their congratulations to Ten Hag at Wembley on May the 25th, but 16 days later, they called him to say they would like him to continue in charge. That radio silence was intended to allow for objectivity in the Ineos process, but it also caused consternation for Ten Hag and meant the renewal of vows in his marriage of convenience required diplomacy. The following day, a delegation headed by Brailsford flew to meet Ten Hag in Ibiza. Man's going on holiday in Ibiza and that, to talk things through properly in an attempt to engender mutual respect in relationship that has been severely tested, because Ineos had indeed given the most serious thought about making a change. There was contrition, for Ten Hag's position had seemed so vulnerable, and crucially, discussions started on a new contract to affirm his status in the eyes of the players and the public, albeit exact details need to be ironed out. That's the kind of point I was trying to make before, although I was making it pretty badly and kind of jumbling up my words. People briefed on the talks say the frank conversation with humility on both sides allowed for a genuine resolution and renewed energy to back Ten Hag. With the improved environment Ratcliffe spoke about during his first media engagement after taking control. Sources spoken for this article did so on condition of anonymity to protect relationship. The clarity means United can begin working on transfers with targets wishing to know the identity of the manager. Priority: central defender, holding midfielder and striker, although cash is tight. Pre-season is due to start on July the 8th. And I, for one, cannot wait to see Erik Ten Hag back out there. If I get the chance, I'm going to give him a big old hug and say, I'm glad you are still here, my friend. Because I genuinely am. I like Ten Hag. I know he's made mistakes this season, but I'm buzzing to see him stay. And that wasn't a reaction to the cup final. I said it before the cup final. Give this man some time. It's about time we gave managers time. And I think this is the right man to give that time to. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Make sure you're keeping it locked. I'll see you soon.